Welcome back to another P2P platform performance update where we will evaluate the changes in the portfolio quality across some of the most popular P2P lending platforms. We will also cover important developments that may increase your risk in particular companies. As always, nothing in this video is intended to be investment advice. P2P lending is risky and you should regularly monitor the latest events surrounding your portfolio to make more educated investment decisions. In this table, you can see how the industry has performed over the past month. Mentos remains the largest platform we report on, and this month it gives us the most to talk about. The outstanding loan portfolio sits at around 656 million euro, which is basically flat compared to the last month. But the loans in recovery jumped again from around 120 million to 132 million euro, which is now about 20% of the entire portfolio. That is roughly 12 million more classified as in recovery in just 1 month, mostly coming from more pending payments and from the narrow capital loans being delayed even further. On top of that, Mintos confirmed that a major principal payment was missed on May 20th and they expect future payments to be delayed as well. Investors are now waiting for cash to actually be collected since the case timelines have already stretched well beyond what was originally expected. Mintos also mentions that if these claims fail, there is an after-the-event insurance that may provide a source of prepayment, but no details are given about whether that coverage is actually enough to cover the losses. My take is that this is a loan book that is slowly deteriorating in quality, and pointing to an insurance policy without numbers is not reassuring. If you are interested in this lender, keep a close eye on the next few updates. EstateGuru's outstanding portfolio decreased slightly to around 197 million euro, and the situation remains difficult. The loans in recovery sit at over 65% of the portfolio, and to be clear, that 65% includes also loans tagged as partially recovered, which are still in default, so the platform itself is now reporting a 65% defaulted portfolio. There is no positive turnaround to report here. EstateGuru investors should continue to expect long and slow recovery, especially on the German side. Peaberry continues to deliver exactly what you want to see, 0% of funds in recovery. The portfolio grew by almost 5% and now stands at around 130 million euro. The growth is coming from new loans, including the Colombian lender to Parcero, and from higher rates for several lenders across Spain, Argentina, Peru, Mexico, Romania, and Colombia. Ventus Group, the company behind Peaberry, has made a lot of progress over the past 2 years and is now ready to fund some of its loan books in emerging markets through investors on the platform. New lending operations have also been announced in Brazil and the Dominican Republic. Enrento had another strong month. The portfolio grew by over 7% to around 73 million euro, with 0% in recovery. The platform continues to broaden its diversification. Robocash continues to perform with a 0% in recovery and a portfolio of around 64.6 million euro, basically flat month over month, with no news or problems to report about. Escated also keeps a clean 0% in recovery with a portfolio of around 49.2 million, again roughly flat. Several lenders have published limited performance reports, which you can read about in our newsfeed. Afranga reported a strong month on its P2P side, with the portfolio growing over 7% to around 34 million euro and still 0% in recovery. The platform also introduced real estate investments. These are real estate loans backed by underlying assets available through Afranga's SafeSmart product. The loan term is fixed at 12 months with a 9% interest rate. Lectera grew nicely as well, up almost 8% to around 27 million euro with 0% in recovery. There are no issues to report about. Finton stayed stable at around 18.5 million with 0% in recovery. Triple Dragon Funding posted the biggest relative growth of the group, up around 24% to 13.36 million, still with 0% in recovery. That's a strong growth, but it's worth remembering that this is a smaller platform, so big percentage jumps are easier to produce. Lending Market published a new statistics page presenting just about 0.3% of the portfolio in recovery, which consists of around 182k of pending payments. The portfolio is around 60.7 million and roughly flat. It's good to see some more transparency from the new statistics page. Indemo has the highest advertised yield on this list at 21.7% with a portfolio of around 30 million euro and about 1.5% in recovery, representing the debts with a period of longer than 2 years. The platform now has a new statistics page where investors can review the average duration of repaid projects and the average return. That kind of data is genuinely useful. It gives you a better idea of the real investment period and the returns you can expect. It would be also interesting to see more data about the current debts in the portfolio. My take though is to always remember that yield above 20% is high risk no matter how good the statistics page looks. Income Marketplace grew almost 9% to around 30.3 million euro with about 1.9% in recovery, which improved slightly compared to last month. There's nothing concerning to report about here. Debiton's portfolio grew to around 66.7 million with about 2.6% in recovery. Crowdpeer grew over 8% to around 20.5 million, but its funds in recovery increased to about 3.3% up from last month. Via Invest revamped its website and is no longer showing relevant statistical data. The new site looks better, but key metrics are no longer available, which reduces transparency. My take is that a nicer looking website is no substitute for clear numbers, and when a platform makes its data harder to find, there is usually a step in the wrong direction. Financials from individual lenders listing loans on the platform are not available either. Vino sits at around 38.2 million with about 5.2% in recovery, which improved slightly, but the transparency story here is even weaker. Statistics are now disclosed only through direct emails to registered users, not on the website at all. Repayments from Russia continue to slowly reduce the debts from Moneza, while the Vietnam lender situation has not changed. Right now, the offers on Twino are limited to a single lender from Poland, NetCredit, which offers 6% through the Flexi product or 12% on the primary market. The platform also received a Mika crypto license. Why investors would want to invest in crypto products on Twino is honestly a mystery to me. Lande grew almost 5% to around 32.5 million with about 6.8% in recovery and a default rate that remains stable. Capitalia improved this month. Funds in recovery dropped to under 10%. The portfolio is around 24.5 million. That is a positive direction. InSoil Finance sits at around 50 million, but with about 22.7% of the portfolio in recovery, a high number that stayed roughly flat this month. Baldora Go and Grow reports a large portfolio of around 727 million, but with about 28% recovery, which are loans that have not yet been recovered. This does not seem to have a direct impact on the yields offered by Go and Grow. Ventus Energy is in serious trouble. The entire portfolio of around 95.5 million is now classified as in recovery, which is 100%. The platform is preparing for restructuring and both payments and deposits have been halted. If you're invested here, this is now a recovery situation, not an active investment. For more information, you can watch my restructuring video, which explains the current situation. Venus24 is in the same difficult position with its full portfolio of around 26.3 million in recovery. The platform is not publishing any updates, making any recovery less likely. For the rest of the industry, there is not much performance data to share. Bonster, Monefit and Uvo Group did not publish meaningful figures. Swapper showed a large drop in funding month over month, which is worth noting even without full numbers. The takeaway from this month is clear: a functioning platform can quickly become a real nightmare for investors. This is especially true for unregulated niche platforms which are funding their own projects. If the risks within the company materialize, the entire platform falls like a house of cards. This risk can be mitigated by regular monitoring, more conservative portfolio allocations, meaning not ignoring red flags, or investments on regulated platforms. At the same time, it is worth noting that even on regulated platforms, the risk may not be much lower. On Twino, for example, which is a MiFID II regulated company, you are left with one lender in Poland. So if that company is in trouble, all the remaining investors on the platform will certainly feel it. So the diversification opportunities within a platform play a role in risk mitigation as well. When evaluating the P2P lending industry, you are better off evaluating specific platforms and business models rather than putting all platforms into one basket. P2P lending remains a high-risk investment, but it does not mean that risk is the same everywhere. You can use our platform risk scores on P2P Empire to get a better understanding of how risky platforms are based on the currently available information. This can obviously change over time as new information becomes available, so monitoring remains essential. That's it from this month's update. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll get you in the next one.